Hi, guys. Here we are in our last week of school. Can you even believe it? It seems crazy. I'm going to talk to you about day one activity, which has to do with a paycheck. Before we can spend money, we need to have money coming in. Money coming in is called income, and we're going to look at a paycheck today. All right, this is a picture of a paycheck. It has a lot of information on it. Perhaps you remember that from when we looked at this before. Over here, we have the logo and the name of the company. That's who's paying you. Over here to the right, we have some information like the number of the check, the date that you're being paid, and your social security number. So we've talked about privacy before, and you might remember that your social security number is one of those things that we never share. But our employer, the person who pays us, the place that we work, they have to know our social security number. But what this means is you're not going to share your check with anybody. You're not going to show it to people. A check is private. You could share it with your parents and maybe your other people who are helping you, but otherwise it's private information. All right, over here it says pay to the order of, and then it has the name Jane Harper. Jane Harper is the person who is receiving this paycheck. So pay to the order of means this company is paying Jane Harper. The line below says this amount. So here is where we're going to find out how much the check is for. We're going to come back to that. Down here again, we have it says bank name. And here it says sample, non-negotiable, void, void, void. That means that this is not a real check. That even if your name is Jane Harper, you can't actually sign this check and get the money. It's a check just to show what checks are like. Over here, you'll see a signature. This is a signature from a person at the company you work for that signs the check to say, yep, Jane Harper really gets this money. Now let's go back here. At the title, it says, what is the amount of the paycheck? Excuse me. And then down here at the bottom, it says paycheck amount. So we need to find out how much this check is for. Perhaps you remember right in the middle, underneath Jane Harper's name, it said this amount. Let's read that to find out what it says. This amount, 291, and then there's this fraction, dollars. The fraction says 90 over 100. That means 90 cents out of a dollar. Let's go look at the numbers here on the right. It says 291.90. That means $291.90. So what is the paycheck amount, or what is the amount of the paycheck? Right here. So there's two places that you can find it. You can find it in a number on the right side of a check, or you can find it written out in words. Why do they write it in words? Have you ever seen somebody whose handwriting was difficult to read? I have, for sure. And the reason that people who write checks write them in words and numbers is to make sure that the amount is the same. So it's a way of writing a check accurately. All right, so you're going to grab this blue ring and you can put it around the amount, and then you can write the amount here in the box. All right, the next part of this first day's activity is sorting fixed expenses and variable expenses. So once you have money, you need to spend it because you have expenses. So the two kinds of expenses that we have talked about before are fixed expenses and variable expenses. Fixed expenses happen at the same time, and they're the same amount every time. Variable expenses, like you see on this calendar, can happen anytime, and they cost different amounts of money. So they are variable. variable means change. So your job on this page is to sort the pictures into either fixed expense or variable expense. I'll give you a hint about one of them. A car payment. Do you think that people make car payments at the same time every week or every month? Or do you think people make car payments just whenever they feel like it and they give whatever amount they feel like? If you chose fixed expense for car payment, you're right. The bank where you borrowed the money tells you exactly when to pay, and they tell you how much to pay. And you have to do what they say. That's a fixed expense. So remember, a variable expense is something that might happen anytime. And each time you have that expense, it might cost something different. All right, that's the end of day one, and I'll see you back here for day two.